Meditation and Spiritual Life, Swami Yatiswarananda. Chapter 4, Different Conceptions about God. The Search for the Absolute. Absolute is different from relative. We live in a relative plane. So, what is the absolute? One which is undivided, complete. Let's see. Right from the beginning of human civilization, we find that man has been trying to understand the mystery of the universe. When he looks up, he sees vast sky. When he looks down into the ocean, he looks vastness. He looks around, everything is so vast, and he's such a small creature, limited. So he's always trying to understand what is the mystery of this universe. On the other hand, he has been trying to study nature as it is, simple, mere pleasure and running away from pain. Is that enough to life? The mind, when it calms down, it starts searching. So, the search, with all its intricate fields and myriads of living beings. On the other hand, he has been trying to find out the origin of the universe. The Shvetashvatara Upanishad begins with these age-old questions of the human mind. Age-old. Let's see, what is it? Students of Brahman, that is the Vedas, discuss what is the cause. Is it Brahman? Whence are we born? Why do we live? Where is our final rest? Under whose orders are we? Who know the Brahman, subjected to the law of happiness and misery? Simple question. An inquirer questions, what is the cause of this entire universe? Why is it there? Is it inside something? Am I a dream in somebody else's world? We are born, we are dying. Where are we coming from? Where are we going to? Why do we live? It's so meaningless at times. So, all these questions, age old questions, the mind has not found answers in the world outside. That is definite. Science, no matter how much it progresses, has not yet found the answer to these questions. But someone has, and thus search for that. In the next stanza, the sages who put these questions to one another. So you see, debates were a norm. Sages put these questions to one another, debate, discussion, continue the discussion about the possible cause of this universe. They take up time, nature, law, chance, matter, energy, mind, ego, all these things, they take them up for examination and find that none of these nor a combination of these could be the cause of the universe, because they're all dependent on something else. It's all part of the Shvetashvatara Upanishad. After finding that it was impossible to get a solution to these ultimate questions through reason alone, the sages next practiced meditation. In the depths of contemplation, they realized that supreme immutable being called Brahman, who is the self luminous power in all beings. So, this is the realization, this is the discovery. And they openly claim you walk this path, you yourself will realize the same reality. But the price to be paid is so huge that humans dare not walk the path. Only the courageous walk the path. Those knowing what the path, their old habits do not allow them to walk the path. So many factors, but it is an open book. Brahman, who presides over the functions of everything from time to ego. Now, what is the nature of the Supreme Being? Someone sitting above the clouds with uh, a smile on his face. Let's see, even as early as the beginning of the Vedic period, we find Hindu sages speculating on this theme. The famous Nasadiya Sukta of the Rig Veda says, so we are trying to find out what is the nature of this Supreme Being. Nasadiya Sukta says, there was neither non existence. So, non existence is a concept, nor existence. Neither this world nor the sky beyond it. What covered and where and what gave shelter? Was water there? Unfathomed depth of water? Death was not then, nor immortality. No sign there was of day and night. So, is it nothingness? No, no, first line. No, no, it was neither non existence even. Beyond comprehension, all these things, because the real nature of Brahman is beyond the mind. So, mind cannot conceive of it. Continuing, that one thing breathless, breath by its own nature, and there was naught else besides. Darkness there was at first hidden in darkness, and everything was undifferentiated being, and that existed then. All that existed then was contentless and formless, and through tapas was born the unity. The above quoted stanzas describe the non dual nature of Brahman as it existed before creation. Even the concept of a pure, absolute being limits the non dual reality. See, the concept is always of mind. A mind can only make a concept. So, if mind is conceptualizing, that means if I am conceptualizing infinity, that means I am binding it into a box, a theory, a concept. So, this limitless non dual reality cannot be conceptualized. Even the concept of a pure absolute being limits its real nature. That is why later on in the Upanishads we find the ultimate reality is described using terms like not this, not this, neti, neti. Like, is Brahman this? No, not this. Is it this? No, not this. Then what it is? When I negate everything which is not Brahman, what remains? which cannot be described, that is Brahman. Another school of thought called the Sankhya had different concepts of reality. Six schools of thought: Nyaya, Vaisheshika, Sankhya, Yoga, Mimamsa, and Vedanta. So, a school of thought, Sankhya, had a different conception of reality. The Sankhya is a very ancient system of Hindu philosophy, perhaps the oldest. It influenced all the other systems. Six systems. So, Sankhya influenced all the rest five. Its psychology is accepted by almost all the schools of Hinduism. The two fundamental categories of the Sankhya are Purusha and Prakriti. Purusha is the spirit, Prakriti is the ultimate source of all material things, including the mind and the senses. There are as many Purushas as there are living beings. Purusha corresponds to the Jiva, individual self of the Vedanta, according to both the systems, Sankhya and Vedanta. The self, in its real nature, is pure consciousness, infinite and eternal, but owing to ignorance, identifies itself with the mind and the body, and is born again and again as a living being. The non dualistic school of Vedanta, Advaita Vedanta. Now, see, Vedanta has many parts: Dvaita Vedanta, Advaita Vedanta, Vishishtadvaita Vedanta, like this. So, Advaita is non dualistic school of Vedanta, has the concept of cosmic ignorance. Avidya or Maya, because of Maya, a Jivatman is born again and again. Anyhow, the non dualistic school of Vedanta has the concept of Maya, which roughly corresponds to the Prakriti of the Sankhya. In both the schools, knowledge based on discrimination between self and the non self, between the real and the non real, is considered. If I have the knowledge, then Maya goes away. So, knowledge of the reality is considered to be the only means of liberation of the jiva from its bondage. These are the common points between the Sankhya and the Vedanta.